Hey guys, Brimstone here. I figured I would make this video because I see a lot of people that run into issues when applying multiple geografts and their subsequent geo shells onto characters and getting texture issues or fitting issues or the myriad of other things that crop up when you're doing these working in 3D and all that stuff with these characters. So yeah, so I figured I'd make this little video and hopefully it'll help some of you guys if this problem crops up for you. So here in the scene I have just the basic Genesis 8 female, and I put some clothes on her just to keep it as PG rated as we can, especially with the context of what we're using here. But anyway, so you'll notice that as you start adding more and more of these grafts onto your character, uh, things tend to not want to work together like immediately right off the bat, and it's really easy to fix these. But again, if you don't know, you don't know, and it doesn't matter how easy something is. If you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it. I mean, adding 2 plus 2 is relatively easy. I'm sure we can all agree, but you had to learn it somewhere. My dog can't add 2 plus 2. Why? Because he doesn't know.
All right, well that's all well enough, but how do we actually deal with this issue when it arises on us? Let me add a few of these onto her. So when you're adding these on, just set it up like you normally would. So you have your character selected in the Scene tab. You'll go to the wearable, which is the green icon. We'll put that on her. Let it think for a second, and then we'll see that we have this nice new tongue added on. And it looks a little weird now because it has a trans map, a transparency map. It will render just fine though. It looks just fine when you actually render it. So from here, we're going to want to use the material copy script that the tongue has its own material, but we can, but the root blend needs to have the texture from our character added to that. And to do that, we simply just hit this material copy script, and then that'll be taken care of. Now we can add a shell to this tongue if we want, so we can make it look wet. So here is our shell for that. We'll add that on. And now that we have that on, we can select how glossy we want it to look with just the material, and that will add it onto our geometry shell. So now from here, we're going to add a few more of these grafts onto her. So again, we have our character selected. We put the attachment onto the character. Then we click our material copy script to copy the material of the character. This will go through the surfaces tab for your character and find the relevant surfaces and copy them onto the graft. But now we see we're running into this issue where we have these shells laying over the top of everything, and the shell that we previously added doesn't have a texture set. It doesn't know that we added another another body part. Basically, we chopped off her chest. Basically, as you can see here, when we hide that new piece, we've basically, through the magic of through the magic of meshes and all that stuff, we've taken this part of her body off and replaced it we've grafted, hence the geograph, the geometry graft. We've grafted a new body part onto her. The shell that we previously added, it's looking for her torso, and it's automatically knows that we don't want to apply a texture, or that this shell that belongs to the tongue graft knows that it's only a tongue graft. It already knows that her base default body, that we don't want anything added to her torso. So it tells it to turn that off. But then we added a new piece to her torso. We've taken the old piece off and added a new piece onto it. And then this shell doesn't know that we've added a new piece onto it. So there's a few ways that we can tell the shell that hey, this is a new part. This doesn't need you to cover over it, because the shells are that new skin, that new clothing item, that new, however you want to conceptualize it. It doesn't look like anything. It just looks like uh, this white texture sitting over her body. It's not really a white texture. Excuse me. It's not really a white texture. It's just a lack of a texture. It doesn't have anything assigned to it. The easiest way to fix that is to use this script that came with the product. Now, not all products include this script, so once we add a few more parts, I'll go over and show us how to fix that manually. So, like I said, the easiest way is just click on that script. Boom, problem solved. So we added that, and now we'll add another shell on, and another shell on, and as we add more and more and more and more, the problem gets worse, because we're just layering new shells, new bubbles over our character, and this bubble is going to cover everything. It's going to cover her fingers or fingernails. It's going to cover her teeth. It's going to cover her ears, her eyes, everything that's a part of the character, everything that's grafted onto the character. It's all going to sit on top of that. And as I said before, these new shells that we added don't know that that part's supposed to that part is even there. So it doesn't know by default that it shouldn't be sitting on top of those parts. We can use our scripts that came with our products to fix it, or we can go into the shell itself, select this in the scene in the scene tab, and then go to your parameters tab. In your parameters tab, you'll find the shell. Open this up, open up visibility, and then go to surfaces. And now in your surfaces tab, you'll see the arms are turned off, the cornea, her eye is turned off. All these parts that are by default a piece of her mesh for her body are all turned off, but these parts that we added that are not by default there are turned on, again because when this shell was made, that part wasn't there, because the artist that made these products doesn't know what you're going to put on, so they can't just go through and do all this stuff. And if they did, then if you didn't put them on, that would also cause issues that are not so easily remedied. But this is an easy fix. We'll just click the on button and turn it off. Click the on button and turn it off. And then we'll go to the tongue, which we added the tongue. We'll click that off, and then we want to do that for the other shell that we have. We'll turn that off and that off, and now the tongue works fine. We'll come up here and we'll turn this off, and now this works fine. And after you're happy with everything, you can save this character as a scene subset, and then you can just click on that scene subset and load it back into your scene. To do that, we're going to want to go, while we're here, we might want to talk about poke through that you may run into while using GeoGraphs. I chose this specific outfit because it doesn't have what's called a smoothing modifier, which helps to smooth the particular clothing items over the mesh of the body. And you can fix that when you don't have a smoothing modifier by adding one. And you can add a smoothing modifier to anything really. You could add it to your character itself to have something collide with her, like poking into her belly or her cheek or whatever. You can use it on a couch to make it look like she's sitting on the couch and actually has weight and presses into the couch a little bit. But here we're going to use it to fix the poke through that we have going on up here. So to add it is it's really easy. We can make sure that your item is selected in the scene tab, and then on the tab itself, right click, go to edit, geometry, add smoothing modifier. Boom, problem solved. There is another way we can add a smoothing modifier. The same thing. Click on the clothing item in your scene tab. Come over to edit, figure, geometry, add smoothing modifier. Usually just adding the smoothing modifier will take care of like 99% of the problems. Sometimes it's not enough. What you can do in that case is you can select the item, go to your parameters tab, and now that you added the smoothing modifier, you'll have a new tab here called Mesh Smoothing. You can raise the collision iterations. I usually raise it 1 or 2, and that typically will take care of the issue. If you need to, you can raise the smoothing iterations. Try and keep this number as low as possible, because the more you raise it, the longer it takes for Daz Studio to respond. So like if you need to move your character's arm, it will become quite sluggish while you're manipulating your character. Here's a quick little bonus tip. Since you've gone through all this time making sure everything works together, you don't want to lose all that work and have to go over it again. After you've made your character and after you're happy with everything, you can save this character as a scene subset, and then you can just click on that scene subset and load it back into your scene. To do that, we're going to want to go to the content library. What I do is I've made these my own folders for props, poses, different makeups, and character presets. How you do that is you would go to your your root directory over here, and then you right click on it, and then you go to create subfolder. And in this subfolder, you can say demo character, or whatever you want to name this folder. And you click OK, and now you have a new folder inside of your content library. So as you see, I have my character presets. So if you want to make specific folders for the different characters, environments, so like even like shaping presets and all that, you can again create a subfolder and you can call it whatever you want. And then inside of this other folder, you click on this little plus button down here, and this is where you can save all the different settings you make. So in this case, we've made a character, and we want to be able to load the character wearing the geographs that we fixed, the textures that we've applied, the clothing, the hair, everything. You can do that by clicking on Scene Subset. It'll open up this window, and you can name it whatever you want. Click Save. This new tab will pop up, and you don't want to save. If you wanted to save anything, you can, but we're just making a character preset. So click that, and now we'll have a new icon pop up, that is this specific character with all the work that we've done on her, ready to go for our next project. Uh, you want to do that as opposed to character preset. Like if you do a character preset, all this is going to do is it's going to save the texture and it's going to save the shaping, but it's not going to have the bikini put on her. It's not going to have her hair. It's not going to have any of these other items loaded into the character. So again, scene subset, and then you got your character here ready to go. So yeah, I hope this helped. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask away.